the off-site recording area of the DJC Collectibles studio, I'm Midwest professional wrestling legend Gage Octane. And now, a guy whose shoot name is not actually Kyle Peterson, Kyle Peterson.
What is up, everyone? Kyle here, back again with my vivacious. That's what we're going to go through. Vivacious co-host Angie is back again. Angie, say hello.
Hello.
She's here every single week in episode number what, Angie?
24.
We're episode number 24 of the Kyle Peterson Show, knocking on the door, the back door of episode 25.
That's crazy.
And we're almost there. Did you ever think we'd make it 25 episodes?
I was hoping we would.
You were hoping. You were hoping. On the march to 100, we're a quarter of the way there. Do we have enough stuff to talk about to make us to 100?
I don't know.
We'll have to see what happens. But next week is the big 25th episode of the Kyle Peterson Show. And once again, we're going to do a Q&A. We'll do more Q&A questions. I've got a few already. But if you want to have a Q&A question part of the episode, send it to the Kyle Peterson Show at gmail.com. Angie will take it from there, and we will answer that question next week in episode number 25, Angie. You ready for that?
Is anything off limits?
Nothing's off limits for Angie. It's all off limits for me. That's for sure. But see what questions come up. Could be about anything. You never know what it could be about. It could be about food. It could be about music. It could be about song and dance. It could be about anything. Dogs, animals, work. I don't know. What else? That's about it. I don't know. Yard work. That's what we got to do. We got to do some yard work tonight. I can't wait for that. That's going to be exciting. Fall crisp in the air here. But before we get into that, Angie, we got to thank the sponsor of the Kyle Peterson Show. It is DJC Collectibles. Use discount code 8OFFDJC to save 8% off your entire order. And I know a lot of people from Canada reaching out saying, I can't find stuff. A lot of stuff from America costs too much to ship to Canada, all that kind of stuff. Well, DJC is Canadian, so you Canadians, that's where you should be going for your action figures, because you don't have to pay a lot of the import fees and all that rigmarole, of course. And Angie, you're a big fan of Canada. Am I mistaken on that? You vacation there every summer, you say. Are you doing something else? What are you up to? No. But shout out to Canada. And I always say, Angie, there's not very many places in the world I really want to go to. I'm fine with just laying on my couch if at all possible. But Australia and Canada are like the two places I would really like to go. And I don't know. Canada's only like a 5.5 hour car trip, 6 hour car trip or something. And I wouldn't mind doing that one of these days. So we'll see. Maybe one day we'll get a wild weekend and we'll just drive up to the Canadian border and cross over.
I think you got to renew your passport.
That's what I was going to say. We got to, unfortunately, our passport's expired, so we need to get that done. So I'm sure that'll be a fun time. I'm sure it will.
We'll probably start from scratch.
I'm sure. But Angie, there's a fall crisp in the air here as we're into September. It feels really weird. I hate it. I hate it when things cool down. I really, in the last week or so, I've really felt that I like the 80s and 90s better. I like a dry heat, and I don't even mind the humid heat a little bit. I like to just go outside immediately and start sweating. That's what I like. I don't know about you. You don't.
I like fall.
You like fall. I don't. I don't know. It's always tough for me, that transition, because once I ditch the shorts, I can't go back. And I always hate that where, okay, it's cold, I'm going to the jeans. And then 3 weeks later, the heat pops back up outside. It's like, I'm in jeans mode now. I can't go back to shorts, and then you're hot, and first world problems is what that is, I guess. It's good just to have pants to wear. That's at the end of the day, right?
Shorts and a hoodie is a cute look.
Shorts and a hoodie is a cute look. Come on, be honest. I look cute in everything,
yeah.
Especially country western shirts. Let me tell you, fine Kenny Rogers garb today. More on Kenny soon, of course. But a fall crisp is in the air. Angie's thinking harvest. She's thinking pumpkin season. She's thinking all that kind of stuff. And maybe after this week, we might dial it in for the next couple of weeks and to try new foods. We might dive into some of the seasonal variety stuff, possibly.
Yum.
So we'll see. Yum.
A little apple cider.
A little apple cider stuff, pumpkin stuff. So maybe we'll dive into some of those there. We'll see where that ends up going. But Angie, this weekend, we got a big party. Of course, Charlotte, our niece, it's her birthday. She's how old?
3.
She's 3. All the big 3. Watch out. But we got that. But we also got another event. Play with me here. Play with me. And we got another event here. Is Galaxy Con is coming. And we're going to go see Dr. Z. Hanging with Dr. Z. If you don't know about Dr. Z, of course, short for Dr. Zayas, the greatest talk show host of all time. One of my absolute favorite comedies, whatever you want to call it. He's got a YouTube channel, got YouTube stuff. It is Dana Gould, the comedian, wrote for The Simpsons, all that kind of stuff. But he will be in town here. He's going to do a live talk show of the Dr. Z show. And I'm hoping he'll do autographs or, more importantly, figures photos. I got figures on the mind all the time, especially yours. But hopefully he'll do photos. I would love to get my picture with Dr. Z in his full Planet of the Apes costume. That'd be awesome. So I'm going to drag Angie to that. I'm trying to dial in what time that's going to be. So hopefully it'll get clearer as we get a little bit closer. But very excited to see Dr. Z, as is Angie, of course, I'm sure.
I can't wait.
Can't wait. But there's going to be other people. There's a bunch of Walking Dead people there. I think Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner's going to be there. Gangrel. Unfortunately, Question of the Week, the guy that started Question of the Week on my toy news and weekly purchases videos was one Jonathan Frakes, of course, from Star Trek. He was supposed to be there. And unfortunately, Angie, he canceled. He's not going to be there. So I was going to do an in-person Question of the Week with Jonathan Franks. That's not going to happen now, unfortunately. But as of right now, Dr. Z is holding on. And we're all just trying to hold on at the end of the day, Angie. And that leads us to our first segment today. It's time for a deeper dive. Angie, it's time to go a little bit deeper. Your favorite or your second favorite segment of the show here, of course. You like the food better, but we're going to go with the deeper dive. We're going to bring the tone down a little bit. We're going to bring it down. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this one. But this week, we're going to talk about something called imposter syndrome. You ever heard of this?
Yes.
It's where you feel like you don't belong, or you feel like you're in over your head, or you feel like you're going to get found out. Like you're not so smart and somebody's going to find out about that. That is my definition of the imposter syndrome. What do you think?
Literally me as a mom.
You as a mom? Oh my gosh. I never worry about am I being a good dad or anything, because I know I am. I know whatever I say is the right thing. And that's the way it is when you're a parent, because whatever you say is right. Whatever you say is go, because they're just little kids. They don't know any better. They're 10 years old. They don't know. But I think you're doing a fabulous job. Probably too good of a job being a mom. Maybe a little bit too friendly, and maybe a little bit of too, your dad said no. Sorry, we can't do it. I really wanted to go, but your dad said no. Too much of that, I think. A lot of times it should be no, we say no. But nope, your dad said you can't do it. Sorry, I'd say yes, but your dad, he's the one. Angie puts it all on me, of course. But I think
it's true. I wanted to go.
Yeah, you'll do anything. Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, kids, you want to go?
Oh my god!
You guys want to go walk on that abandoned train track over the river? Sure, I don't care. I'm like, no, they can't be doing that late at night. They're gonna trip and fall in there. And he's like, they're kids, let them fall. Who knows? They can swim. They'll make it. I'm like, there's no water. It's all rock down there. They'll fall 100 feet to their death. Yeah, maybe not. But imposter syndrome is something I haven't had very often, but I had it one time, and it was like 10 years ago. You remember this?
Maybe.
When I got promoted to my job, and I felt like, it was weird because I was qualified for it. I was very young for the position. I still am fairly young for the position. Most guys, and I guess gals, mostly guys, 20, 30 years older than me. And I got put into the position. I, did 12 interviews, something like that, to get the job. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a lot. I remember studying and just practicing and thinking of things. And just, when they say that you have to study and it's almost a full-time job getting a job. Mm-hmm. And I already had a job at the time, but I was transferring companies at the time. And I was going from Kraft, Nabisco, Mondelez to where I'm at now. And I just remember just hardcore studying and planning and going from single interviews to HR interviews to phone interviews to panel interviews to president, vice president interviews. It was a lot, and it was a lot. But I remember getting through that, and then you don't hear for a long time. Then you finally do hear, okay, yes, you've got the job. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be found out that I'm a fraud. And that's what imposter syndrome basically is, that, oh my gosh, did I deserve this job? Am I in the right spot? I can't believe they gave me the keys to this kingdom, all that kind of stuff. And this could be jobs. This could be your sports team. It could be really anything in life for the most part. But I remember it really messed with my head for a long time. And, Angie would say that, oh, you have nothing to worry about. You have nothing to worry about. But that's easy for somebody else to say on anything, isn't it, Angie?
That's always my train of thought, though.
Yes.
I'm always like, why are we stressing? It's going to work out. It's going to work out.
Yeah, maybe.
It always does.
Maybe, until it doesn't. That's the thing.
But even when it doesn't, it technically does.
But I remember just they're going to find out that I am just abysmal at this. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm doing. Luckily, though, I never had that happen. And it all did work out. There was no issues there. But it really played with my head for a while, where I was like, I can't believe I got this. And it was basically getting my dream career job is all I ever thought I really wanted to do in my life and career, and getting it at a fairly young age. Mm-hmm. and just kind of not knowing where to go, and like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is what I always wanted. And now they're going to find out that I'm not qualified and they're going to get rid of me. Well, obviously that has not happened, but I just remember being a mental head case for about a couple of months. And it's always very frustrating and a little bit scary when you start a new job, you start anywhere. I don't care if you're going to start as a dishwasher or whatever. It's nervous on that first day, your first day of school, whatever it may be. And now you got millions and millions of dollars that you're in control of. You're like, you don't want to mess it up. You don't want to mess up anything. But I just remember, and I don't usually have like mental illness problems or mental problems, whatever you want to call it. But I remember being just like really scared for a while. But I was working around the clock, as I kind of do now, it feels like. But I was studying and I was practicing and I was trying to find every bit of knowledge I could to just make me better at that job every single day.
I think I put you on a supplement then. I think you were on that like ashwagandha or whatever it's called.
It was like, it was like a green tea or something, like stress relief. And that's why I always say I'm going to die of a stress-reduced heart attack one of these days. But yeah, it's going to hit me. And I'm not looking forward to it, Angie. On Monday, we got to go take our like health assessment. So since Angie is on my benefits and everything, she has to take it too. But I have to take it so work can know that I'm fit for the job or whatever. So I'm a little stressed this year. It's been a very stressful year. It's been a long year.
I feel like you're going to do better than you have before.
I don't know. I just feel like, I've been eating oatmeal almost every morning for breakfast. So hopefully that's helping my heart healthy. But I think my blood pressure's been through the roof, and it never fails before I go in to do it. And we're getting off topic a little bit, but it never fails before I go in there to get my blood pressure. I get some kind of call or I get some kind of disaster that just drops on me. And then all of a sudden, my blood pressure is just through the roof. And
oh my God, mine was like super low last time. Like they almost let me stay. It was like my top number was like in the 90s.
And I never know what those numbers mean. I never have a clue what any of that means. I just look at it as I'm a red or I'm green, and it's always like, you're red. You're never terrible. You're right on the line. Yeah, I'm always on the line. But Kyle, your triglycerides and your, I don't know, all that kind of stuff. It is what it is. But back to the imposter syndrome. You feel you're going to get found out. And I guess you could. I mean, who's to say you can't get found out 20 years later? I don't know. But keep shuffling along. Keep doing what you do. And usually you make it worse in your own head than it probably actually is, unless it isn't. Once again, you never know. Sometimes it is bad. Sometimes you're in the thick of it and you're like, you know what? Maybe it's better. No, it's not better. You're in the thick of it and you're going to die. That's just the thing. Some guy that falls out of a plane with like, he's doing a parachute out of a plane and the parachute doesn't open. Well, guess what? Yeah. Oh, it'll be all right. It'll work out. No, it's not going to work out. It's not. Yeah, no matter what, you're paralyzed.
I wouldn't be saying that in that moment.
Yeah, it's not. So you can't relate that to everything. That's for sure. So sometimes it just doesn't work out, unfortunately. But for me, it worked out. And for you, I'm sure it worked out. Yes, you sitting back there on the couch watching. Not you. It didn't work out for you. You had to settle for all this. Settle for this mania. That's for sure. But
my imposter syndrome was getting you.
Is that what it was? Yep. Yeah. That's what it was. She's like, oh, I'm going to lose this guy. Oh, I better make him happy. I better make him happy, whatever it takes. Don't want to lose this guy. He's a catch.
Oh my God.
And I'll never forget that first time we met. We were like at that bar, and all of a sudden you cast a line out there and you're just doing this at me. Yeah. And you're reeling it in. You're trying to get this. And I'm just like, what is this girl doing?
That was like a dance move back then.
And you were trying to reel it. The sprinkler? And you were reeling me in
like I was like trying to get you to come.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you want to reenact any of those dance moves you did that first night? You show me some of those. You remember any of those dance moves?
I probably like get a cramp.
I don't know. You were feeling good that night. You were looking good that night. That's for sure. I'll never forget. I was just over there across the parking lot the other night. I was at all you can eat Brazilian steakhouse. And can you believe this family of mine? They should be disowned. You guys got imposter syndrome at the steakhouse. They don't want to go to the Brazilian steakhouse. All you can eat there.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
$50 a person.
Oh, it's like $45.
And we do not eat, like, I'll eat one plate and be full. And then the kids don't even like it. So it's just a waste of money on top of it.
It's just ridiculous to me, though. How you can
usually find a friend.
Yeah, my buddy wanted to go, and so I said, all right, yeah, I'll go. So I've been wanting to go for a while, but I like to go to those things. I don't eat as much as I would like to. Every time I'm like, gosh, I should have ate more, but I always kind of prep the whole day. I'm going to just go crazy here. And I'm not a big fan of the steaks either. This is just going off the rails.
I get the meat sweat so easily, where I literally feel like I'm going to throw up.
Oh, I know you do. I've seen you in action.
That's what I'm saying.
You get that meat and you're just throbbing, and you got the liquid going. You see that in your face, and you're just... Is it salivating? Are you sure? I don't know what you're up to there, but But over there, it's funny is I'm not a huge steak guy. Like I like steak, but I'm more of a chicken breast guy. Really, at the end of the day, I like a good chicken breast, and that's healthier for you than steak.
I
most of the time.
love the grilled pineapple though. And they put
Grilled
a little glaze
good.
on it or something.
They put the honey on it, and it's very, very nice. So I like that pineapple. But they always have like the lemon chicken, spicy chicken, herb chicken. I like to eat a lot of that. I eat a little bit of the pork. I'm not a big pork guy in my older age. I used to pork was my go-to when I was like in high school, and I don't really like pork that much anymore, but I can eat it if I have to. And then the pineapple, and then they had the beef ribs were good.
I forgot why we started talking about this.
What?
Why we started talking about the steakhouse.
Why?
Are you going there?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was
We've
getting
been
there.
we've been talking about it so long, I forgot.
I was going to get there.
I forgot why.
There's always a method to the madness. I was getting
Always
there.
a bridge. You know?
But I enjoy that kind of stuff. And it was a good meal at the old steakhouse. But Angie, that was right across the street from the dance club that we met at once upon a time. So I was staring over there at that club that's no longer there. Just reminiscing of just the greatest moment of my life.
I took the kids to Chick-fil-A.
And she dropped us off and went shopping, and I went and ate, and then we got back and we did some more errands and stuff. And they went to Chick-fil-A.
Took them to the K-pop stores.
Oh, get out of here. That
Dropped
K-pop.
a couple bills there.
That K-pop. And I talked to our friends, Jay's Toys and Games, of course, a good supporter of my YouTube channel.
Yeah, can they get some K-pop in, please?
Yeah, maybe. But going to get my daughter a job there probably next summer. And, I said, hey, put her in the K-pop section is what you can do. Who knows? By then she won't like K-pop anymore the way these kids go.
But she'd still have the knowledge. Like, she would know what's what and what's...
We'll see. So there it is, Angie. A little bit of asterisk, a little bit of extra conversation here, but it is a deeper dive into the imposter syndrome. Any imposter syndromes for you? I don't think so, really, as far as work.
Just me whenever I go to the Brazilian steakhouse.
Oh, I think it's the Brazilian waxing place.
Thinking I'm the person that can put this down.
Yeah. She gets the imposter syndrome. I paid $50 and I think I could do this. And you can. That's one of the times where you fail.
You know what I usually do?
Yeah, what does she do?
I get salad bar and then I sneak some of your meat.
She does.
I just sneak some meat.
You pay that $20 for the salad bar, and then she'll get like 2 little pieces of meat, and that's about it.
I'm always sneaking your meat.
Oh, she is. That's true. That's true. We'll do that later, too. So there it is. That's a deeper dive. That's the imposter syndrome. And Angie, it's time to shine. And we got a little bit of a follow-up from last week. It's time to try new foods, because they might taste good.
Try a little bit of this and a little bit of that. A little bit of this and a little bit of that. We gotta try new food because they might taste good.
All right, Angie, it's time to try new foods because it might taste good. And Angie, what did we try last week?
Oreo Reese's.
Oreo Reese's.
Now we gotta try Reese's Oreo.
Reese's Oreos. Now,
these are the full-size ones.
There's 4 of them in there, so we're going to save one for each of the kids and one for each of us. What do we got there? What's it
I thought
say?
for a second there was white on top, and then they flipped it, but they don't. So it's white on the top.
Yep.
Chocolate on the bottom.
Kind of trying to make like an Oreo type thing in there, but what's it say? King size. What's the calorie count on this bad boy?
You don't want to know.
200 per serving. 2 servings per container.
Oh my God, they're 200 a piece?
Yeah, 100 a piece.
2 cups per serving. Okay.
400 for the container.
So 100 a piece.
Reese's Oreos hitting stores right now, as are the Oreo Reese's. Now, in full transparency, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, 2 months ago, a week ago, what is time? I'm not exactly sure. I went to the San Diego Comic-Con of grocery conventions, Angie, and they had samples of these out there. So I did get to try a small sample of this, and I got to say, it knocked my socks off. It tasted like Reese's peanut butter cups tasted back in the 80s and 90s. Now they have a weird chemical kind of taste to them, if you ask me. Something with the chocolate not being as nice and creamy, which we know Angie's a master of the cream, as we know. Something about it was absolutely amazing. There's an Oreo kind of just like there's one Oreo cookie in the middle there. It was absolutely amazing. Now, here's the thing about samples, new items at shows like this. What usually ends up happening is they're not mass produced. Now, this one here, this is mass produced. Those are made in like a test kitchen and they make a very small batch. Well, with a smaller batch, what does that come with, Angie? A little bit more love. That's what that comes with. You get a small batch, there's more love, there's more eyes on it to make sure it's amazing. Because you're giving this to the Walmarts of the world, these big, the Krogers, whatever, Publix, whoever it may be, you're giving these to them to knock their socks off, want them impressed, and want them to push your goods out there at retail. Like I'm pushing Angie's goods right here today, that's for sure. But these were absolutely amazing. That was my remembrance. I remember coming home that night telling you how amazing they were. I couldn't wait for them to come out. Well, the time is now, Angie. we're going to try these bad boys. Let's get it open. Let's see what all the fuss is about and see what we got. So I'm hoping they taste the same. Like I said, we're going to find out really, really soon. Sniff test, you can really smell that peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
Really peanut buttery smell. So I like that. And of course, you got the classic wrapper on the cup, I guess is what we'll call it. Looking good. You got the chocolate on the bottom.
The paper's almost hard to get off.
Yeah, you got the chocolate on the bottom.
What do I... There's
White
something I
chocolate on the
make
top.
that has white chocolate and peanut butter, and it's like reminding me of that.
Those
but I can't think.
butterscotch things, isn't it?
It really smells like
I don't know, but it is good. Very thin. Of course, looks like a Reese's. You're not going to mistake this for anything else.
But you can see the peanut butter trying to come out even the
Yeah.
top. So I think they really filled it.
They did.
And you can see if you look at the bottom, you can see the Oreo specks.
Oh, yeah, you can.
So you can. They
You
really
can.
filled this sucker. I bet it's thick. She's thick, like me.
How do you feel about the white cream on the top there? The white chocolate?
I'm not a huge white chocolate person unless it's on a pretzel. That's when I like
You're
it.
more of a white cream person, but not a white chocolate person. We just want to get specific there. But let's give it a try before it melts in our hands here.
Okay. Oh yeah, and they put the, I don't even know if I can show them, but
No.
on a regular Reese's, the filling does not come to the edge like that. You see how it comes all the way to the edge? Back of that booty. You're filled. Oh yeah, it's good.
It is good. Now, I'm going off my memory. And we know how my memory's been. I got hit in the head a few times. Now, the one I had felt like it was a little bit thicker. And this one, in the inside, it felt like the Oreo was a little bit thicker. Like a regular Oreo cookie. Not the cream part, but just one of the cookies.
See, I got a big chunk of Oreo here at the back.
This feels like the Oreo Thins, which is the thinner Oreos. It feels like there's more Oreo Thin in here than the thicker normal cookies, to me. At least on this one here.
It might be. It is thinner than a Reese's normal.
It is thinner. And I remember the one I had was more thick, robust, mouth-watering. I don't know. So I don't get as much Oreo taste as this one as I got on the last one. I also didn't get that crunch when I bought into it, which was nice, or bit into it. It had a very nice crunch that I didn't get with this one right here. It just, it feels like a condensed down version of what I got before.
Yeah.
And then you got, what are these called on the ends? Like the ridges or whatever from the
Yeah.
packaging. Those are a lot harder than the one I had. So I think the samples I got obviously were very fresh, made right there. This is mass produced. So this is what I'm talking about, a little bit of that love that's lost in the process along the way.
Yours is a lot better balance. Yeah, like on this side, I have no Oreo, and then over here, it's like super heavy.
Yeah. Now, I don't think it tastes exactly like the 80s and 90s Reese's peanut butter cups that I remember, like the last one did. It was like
It
a
seems
nostalgic.
a lot less chemically.
It does seem a lot less chemically, but it's not quite that feeling where the last time with that sample, that one, I bit into it and it was, oh my gosh, amazing.
You were transported back to
I was
the 90s.
transported. I didn't get that here today. But it is good. It is good. I would take this over a regular Reese's peanut butter cup any single day. And I'm not a huge white chocolate fan either.
It's good. Rich.
It is rich. And I don't think I could eat 4 of these either. One is good enough for me.
You take a drink.
Angie's going to take a little drink of her elixir.
Here, Hyper. Sponsor me.
Sponsor Angie. Interesting. So I don't know. If you had to rate this out of 5, what would you give this?
A 3.8.
3.8 out of 5. Well, once again, I'm going higher on you. I'm going 4 out of 5. I got to give this 4. Still really
agree
good.
the Oreo is better. Way better.
I'm the same. 4. They both got 4 for me.
No, you did 4.5. I did a 4.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I guess I'm rating this against Reese's peanut butter cups and everything. I don't know. They're both about the same. So this is very good. This is worth a try one time, and that's new items for you. Worth the try at least one time. Very good though. I don't know if I'd buy it again. Maybe one more time. We get a 4-pack for everybody sometime, but not sure how long this is going to last. You got to think though, if it takes off, it'll last forever.
I just can't believe how they're flying in the grocery stores.
Are they flying?
The displays are absolutely smoked.
You've been paying attention, and there's like little ones too, like a baggie of little ones in there. So that's a possibility too.
So that's worth the try because we usually like those better. Like if we're going to eat them, we buy those little mini guys.
Yeah. So not a bad piece of business. I'd say try it once, see where you go from there, see if that is your thing. But Angie, it's time to segue to the next one. It's time for the figure of the week. All right, Angie, it's time for the figure of the week. And this week is very timely as it'll tie into another segment we got here next after this one. But we got the figure of the week this week, and it's a figure Angie never even heard of, never even knew the movie existed until a couple of weeks ago. But this time we're going to Super 7. We're going to their Ultimate line. We're going to the Red Rage Toxie is what we got going on here. And he's got some dust on him, Angie.
Oh, poor little thing.
Poor guy. But it's the Red Rage Toxie is who this is. Now, this would be the Toxic Crusader, but he'll always be the Avenger to me. Toxic Crusader was the kids' cartoon back in the day. Avenger was the movie, the Troma movies, of course. But this is the Red Rage Toxie, which is a pretty cool one. As you light this up with a black light, and he turns red, which is really cool. And I love translucent plastic. You guys know that. This was the first Toxie I had from the Super 7 line. They have released this many, many times. All-American Toxie, Glow-in-the-Dark Toxie, an actual Toxic Avenger version of Toxie, and many, many more. Getting the most out of your molds, if there was ever a definition, Angie, this would be the definition of that, as they've released many of these. And a lot of people are saying, where's the other members? Where's the other cast and crew? Well, you got to follow the money at the end of the day, as we always do say. But the Red Rage was one that went on deep discount for like $20 for a long time. Since then, it has scooted up in price there. But I really enjoyed the Toxic Avenger and Crusader figures. I'm here for all of them. I'm here for the Toxic Avenger. But Angie, now we got to find out if we're going to be here for the movie Toxic Avenger, because that's what's up next. It's time to rate it or hate it. All right, Angie, it's time for Rate It or Hate It. And we got a double batch this week is what we got going on. As my grandma used to say, Kyle, I made you a double batch of Rice Krispie treats. And that was always a great day for me, as my grandma had the best Rice Krispie treats ever. It had the chocolate on there. A lot of people call them Scotcheroos, whatever you want to call them. But she would make a double batch. And I remember one time being a kid. Here we go, story time with Kyle. As a kid saying, Grandma, instead of creamy peanut butter, let's use the chunky peanut butter. And way better. Now, I was the only one that liked the chunky peanut butter, but I like the chunky peanut butter better than the creamy.
And a Scotcheroo?
We know Angie likes the creamy better, but I like the crunchy in the Scotcheroo. I thought it was an amazing flavor, amazing taste. Shout out to my grandma. Miss her Scotcheroos, Angie. I miss her Scotcheroos. Which grandma was
this? This is two Pepsi's grandma?
This is Grandma Peterson.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out to Grandma Peterson for sure. But Angie, it's time for Rate It or Hate It, where we're going to rate on a 5 scale our thoughts on a movie. And we actually have 2 movies we're going to review this week, as we watched 2 different movies this week. We threatened it last week on the podcast. I said we were going to take Angie to the Toxic Avenger. Of course, the new release just came out with Angie's good friend, Peter Dinklage. Yes, Peter Dinklage was there. He was playing the Toxic Avenger. Now, I'm going to set the stage here, Angie, and feel free to chime in wherever you want. Okay. But as a little kid growing up in the 80s, there used to be a channel, and it's still there. It's called USA, the USA Network. And they had a show called Up All Night, where they would show movies, horror movies, sci-fi movies, things like that. You'd stay up late as a little kid. You're playing with your wrestling figures, doing whatever you do. You put on Up All Night. And that is where I first ever heard of the Toxic Avenger. Now, honestly, the Toxic Avenger, it was the original 80s version, of course, the one that started all from Troma Entertainment, Troma Films. And it was severely edited for cable network TV, as you can imagine. So that was my first instance of watching the Toxic Avenger, but I loved it. I love that kind of stuff. I love horror stuff. So I loved it as a kid. Toxic Crusaders, the cartoon that came shortly after that, not my cup of tea, obviously. I wanted the more grimy, more craziness, I guess we'll call it, of the Troma film. Not going to put that in a cartoon either. But now this week here in the theaters, they did come out with I don't want to say it's a remake, because the movie is totally different than the original Toxic Avenger. And in my opinion, it felt like that was a little bit where it went wrong, and we'll get into that here in a second. But it was a modern day take, I guess, on the Toxic Avenger. Is that what we want to call it, Angie?
Yeah.
Now, there'll be some spoiler alerts in here, so you might have to fast forward if you don't want to be spoiled a little bit. There might be something that comes up here. But it felt like they made it a much more PC film. Still, some blood and guts in there. There was still some cussing, but it was a lot more PC, and it had, I guess, would you say it had more heart, maybe?
There was just a deeper, plot to it.
A deeper plot, and it started with, I can't remember his name. Was it Melvin? Was it still Melvin? the Toxic, or Winston, was that his name?
I don't even remember.
I don't remember his name, but it was the Toxic Avenger. Before he got turned into it, his wife had died. She had a son before. He was taken over for the stepdad role, I guess, even though not officially the stepdad, but he was watching after this kid. He cared about his kid, found out he was terminally ill, felt bad for the kid, obviously trying to do anything he can to try to live for his. It was a very, sappy story and all that kind of stuff where I just wanted,
He was terminal, not the kid.
He was terminal and all this. And I wanted more violence, blood, guts, vulgarity, boobs, of course. Take that all the time. Mm-hmm. I wanted more of that kind of stuff in this movie, like the original. Unfortunately, it didn't have all that. Now, a lot of people are saying how much they love this new Toxic Crusader or Toxic Avenger. Unfortunately for me, I was very unimpressed with the movie. Very unimpressed. Now, we're going to get to Angie here in a second because she knows nothing of any of this, and we'll get into it a little bit. But I was extremely disappointed by the movie. You had Kevin Bacon in the movie. You had Elijah Wood. So you had some A-list celebrities involved in this too. And I get it. You can't do the total non-PC original 80s budget, low-class film. You can't do all that kind of stuff. But for what I was hoping for, more in the vein of the original with better effects, more modern stuff like that. And I get it doesn't always translate. You can't always do that. And I understand there's two schools of thought. Angie, I don't know if you knew this. Some of you guys may know this watching this. Did you know that I'm one class away, of course, from a minor in film? Yes, one class away from a minor in film. So take this from some guy that really knows his stuff. That's what I would say. Just a professional here in so many things. But it just didn't go where I wanted it to go. It felt clunky in spots. Now, there was the Motorhead scene. I'm here for some Motorhead. Absolutely love the Motorhead scene there. I thought it was amazing. And I couldn't believe it. I was kind of looking down for a second, and I heard in the Hall of the Mountain King by Savatage. You said, I don't know what that is. But that was playing. I was like, am I hearing Savatage on the big screen? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So my metalhead ears were perking up for sure with the Motorhead and Savatage. So I was into that for sure. Get comfy, Angie. Get comfy.
My leg was on the sleep.
But I liked that. And here's another thing. This might be not PC at all. And Angie, there's one thing you've known about me for the whole time you know me, 2+ decades at this point. I love little people. I love dwarfs. I love them. I just love them. I got friends. Hornswoggle, good friend of the channel, of course. I love the little people. I love the dwarfs. There's something about it. Shout out to my boy Beetlejuice. Shout out to Gary Coleman, Webster, you name it. Big fan of all of them. Love their work. Peter Dinklage is okay. I'm enjoying him in the latest season of Dexter. He does a good job in that one there. Angie, I've been watching that. But it did not work for me at all being the Toxic Avenger. I felt like it was just, I don't know. There's something about it. And I don't know if it's not discrimination against little people, because I love little people and things, but I feel like I'm okay with the Toxic Avenger being a little person as a human. But I feel like if he fell in this vat of stuff, that it would make him like to a superhero. Now it did, but he would have grown like a Hulk type thing. He would have been bigger. And I don't know, maybe it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but I kept thinking, I wish he was bigger like the original Toxic Avenger. And I don't know what that means, but I felt that way. Did you feel that way? Or you didn't really care? You didn't know any different?
Well, I mean, watching the original one back, it almost seemed like a jab at little people, because it was like the first guy in the first movie was so like nerdy and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, because the first one, Melvin in the original, was a very nerdy, like over the top nerd, where he was made into a superhuman like Hulk type thing to get back at his bullies. That wasn't quite the case right here. I guess he kind of got back at some bullies, the company he worked for, where he eventually got cancer from. It just seemed a little bit more of a stretch than I would have liked. And I would have liked to see less serious, more fun, maybe. I don't know what the word is, but it had its spots. It was worth watching one time. It reminded me a lot of The Devil's Rejects is my favorite movie of all time. You know The Devil's Rejects. You know where this story's going?
No.
They had a sequel to The Devil's Rejects once upon a time. It was called 3 from Hell. And Angie and I went and saw that at the theater. And I have never been more sad in my life coming out of a movie, as that movie just wrecked me. I did not enjoy 3 from Hell at all. I thought it was terrible. I've only watched it one time. I really need to go back and watch it again. But I'd never left the theater going in so high to go in out so low. It was just really, really rough. And I felt a lot of that with this Toxic Crusader, unfortunately. I hate to admit that. Where the original is just such an amazing movie. It's a moment in time. And Angie, watch the new one. And then I said, Angie, let's watch a little bit. And you made it about 20 minutes into the old one before you had to go.
Yeah.
She heard, what was you heard something that you didn't like.
I just didn't.
There was
like when they were running over the little kids.
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah,
I hated that.
Where they were hitting the kid on the bike.
I was feeling like physically ill watching.
Yeah, and then they were saying like some cuss words and stuff. I forget what they said. It was something just really offended Angie. I was like, oh come on, it was 1986.
Oh, some racist, really. Racist
oh yeah, some of the racist stuff like or something. It was a moment of time. It was a little bit of satire and stuff, but I get it. It can make people's skin crawl a little bit. So Angie had to turn it off and go away. I said, oh, so because I wanted her to see at least a little bit, or hopefully the whole original, to kind of be able to get a little yin and yang of where my brain was and where we were going. It was missing out on the girls and stuff like that.
But it was so different. Even that 20 minutes, it was so different.
So different.
You're right.
Not even feel like it was in the same universe, honestly, there. So I don't know. If you never knew anything of the Toxic Avenger, I think you might enjoy this more. But if you were a big fan, and I wouldn't say I'm a massive fan where I watch it every single day and I have a shrine to it or something like that, but I've enjoyed it throughout the years and it's stuck with me throughout the years. I left disappointed. I think if you're like me, you're going to be disappointed. But if you're somebody like Angie, you might enjoy it a little bit more. Yes. Now, Angie, I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to say this was by no means your top 100 favorite movie you've ever seen. No,
but the fact that it had more heart and a better plot, I enjoyed it
way more than the old one, for sure. Now I'm the total opposite. So
you just need some boobs and some kids getting run over.
Yeah, I want to see stuff like that. I want to see some violence, people getting their arms ripped off. You didn't even get to see where he met his blind girlfriend. That was a whole thing. You missed all of that. And that wasn't in the new film either. There was no girlfriend. Maybe they're hoping for sequels. I don't think that's going to happen, though. But we'll see. And we went to the theater, Angie, and we were the only ones there. And then right at the start, I think two other couples came. And one guy came by himself, and that's my biggest fear there. We talked about that last week. I would never go to a movie by myself. And one guy showed up, and he came walking in with a huge thing of popcorn. I'm just like, look at that guy. He's settling in for the evening. Is what he's doing.
That was his date.
That was his date, the popcorn. And I had the big thing of popcorn too, but I cut the hole in the middle.
Oh, God.
And it works every time, folks. Works every time. Check that out.
I don't really like popcorn.
That's a pro move. I know you don't like popcorn, but you like other things. That's for sure.
I would have never got down to the bottom enough to get it.
Yeah, because it's so small down there. I can't find it.
I just hit the top.
But yeah, so it was what it was. But Angie, before we get to the second movie, do you want to rate Toxic Avenger, the first one, the 20 minutes you saw of the first one, out of 5?
Oh, God.
0 out of 5? 1 out of 5?
-1.
-1 out of 5. That's a tough score. Now, how about the one we saw at the theater?
Oh, 2.7. 2.5.
Wow, that's pretty good. So if I had to rate these with the original Toxic Avenger, I'm going to go 4.5 out of 5.
You're lying.
No, I'm not. That's my kind of movie. That's what I want out of a theater movie or any kind of movie. So I'm going 4.5 out of 5 for the nostalgia factor, the fun time factor. I can watch that movie about whenever. I've seen it a million times and enjoy it. So 4.5 out of 5. And then the new interpretation, I'm going to go a 1.5 out of 5. I mean, I don't know. I'm glad I went. I'm glad I saw it. I will never watch it again, unfortunately. And I hope if they do make a sequel, I hope they bring it a little bit over the top. And I was really excited because they were promoting it's unrated. It's unrated. I didn't feel like there was really anything that couldn't have been an R.
I can't even really remember.
I mean, there was some blood and guts. There was some of that kind of stuff. There was the guy.
It was because they showed peepees.
Barely, and it wasn't even real. It wasn't even real. And then they shoved that one part where a guy shoved his hand up the guy's butt and pulled his organs out. I mean, that was the closest thing to like over the top gore to me. But yeah, I don't know.
There was one part where he peed on his chains to
and
his urine melted the chain.
But they didn't show anything or anything. But that was like, hey, that made sense to me because he's got the toxic piss, of course.
Oh my God.
I get some of that every once in a while too, when you get real dehydrated.
Bladder infection.
But yeah, he was pouring it on his chains to break them, so that made sense. You got to be versatile, and that was smart of him. So I don't know. Check it out. I'd be interested to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments down below if you did check that one out. But then we did see another one, and I've been wanting to watch this since it came out San Diego Comic-Con week. Have not got a chance to watch it until this week. Angie sat through it as well. We went over to Netflix. We did watch Happy Gilmore Part 2. Now, I didn't get any spoilers on this one. The only thing I'd heard about it was there was a lot of cameos. That was the only thing I'd heard about it. A lot. And I enjoyed Happy Gilmore. I liked the first version. I liked the Adam Sandler movies. I went in thinking good things, and a lot of people said it was the worst movie ever. Some people said it was really good. Now, me personally, I thought it was really good. I enjoyed that movie. That's my kind of movie, dumb humor, stuff like that. I will say, in my opinion, I was expecting a cameo in every segment, every turn. There wasn't as many cameos as I was expecting. And that was the thing I heard from everybody. Cameos, cameos, cameos. Yes, there was a lot of cameos, but it wasn't to an overwhelming degree that it took away from the story for me. And some people said that. I didn't see that. Once again, being a guy that's one class away from a minor in film, I'll let you know that there. So I thought it was really, really good. The only thing I did not like about the movie really was I didn't like that his wife died at the beginning and the way she did die. I thought that was a little bit over the top, a little much. And I think that turned too dark. And I think they could have done a better, clever way to have her
I think
die.
she should have just been dead from the beginning and like explained it away. And then he was done golfing and then
or something. But I think she should have died of, cancer or a car accident, some different way, I feel like. So that was a little much for me. But I did like a lot of the cameos. I did like some of the callbacks to the past, like the big giant guy having his son there, and then Chubbs Peterson's son. I like that. My favorite story arc of the whole thing was the Shooter McGavin, of course, the big rivalry from the first one, to have him come back, have him be part of the team, kind of. I really like that full circle moment. I like that a whole lot. There's something about that I liked. It did drag in a few spots here and there. By no means was it a perfect movie. But I did like it. I did enjoy it. I mean, there was a lot of stuff. The John Daly stuff, I think, was pretty funny. I think it would have been fun if John Daly could have been on his team later on, or at least his caddy or something. Probably my least favorite person in the whole movie was Bad Bunny. I get why he'd be in there. I get why they'd make him the caddy for him. But I would have rather seen somebody else in that role. I felt like he was just there because he's a big star, where they could have made John Daly the caddy, and I think it would have been funnier. They could have done more things like that. Maybe some other people. But all in all, it had a lot of the charm of the last film, a little bit of darkness in there, of course, and a redemption story. They had all of his kids. I mean, Angie was like, oh, that's his kid. I know that's his kid. And I'm like,
they all look exactly like him. And his wife and 2 daughters.
Yeah, I didn't realize any of that. Angie was pointing that out there, though. But as a whole, it was definitely worth watching. Once again, like most movies for me, I will never watch it again. One and done. I've seen Happy Gilmore many times. Happy Gilmore 2, I'm not going to watch multiple times. But I enjoyed it. It was a good way to spend an hour, 45 minutes or whatever on the couch. But Angie, did you have any thoughts, anything you want to add to this one that I didn't cover, or any of your thoughts on Happy Gilmore 2?
Yeah, I just didn't like how the wife died either.
Yeah,
but
Julie Bowen.
It was better than I thought it would be.
Shout out to her. She's always looking good. She's always looking good. Did you prefer this over the Toxic Avenger?
Yes.
Both of them.
Yes,
both
definitely,
versions.
yes.
Both versions. So okay. Now me, I would not put this over Toxic Avenger 1 from the 80s.
But right in the middle of the other two?
I'd put it over Toxic Avenger, the most recent one, though. So, Angie, if you're going to rate Happy Gilmore 2 out of 5, what are you going to go out of a 5?
3.5.
I'm going same thing, 3.5. Right middle of the road. Worth a watch at least one time. You owe it to yourself one time. You owe it to yourself as a human being to watch it one time. I don't know if you need to watch it a second time. And I'm shocked how many Adam Sandler movies are on Netflix that I've never seen. He signed that agreement with them and made a bunch of movies. I didn't see hardly any of those. And I don't know if I want to go back and watch them or not. There's too many other trauma films to watch, of course. But yeah, that's it. That's Rate It or Hate It. The good, the bad, and the ugly, I guess, is what we got going on this week. Would you say?
Yeah. I like it how he had to when he got sober, he had to change like his happy place because he couldn't picture like the beer anymore because he didn't drink. So I won't tell you what
I'll tell you about my happy place later. I'll tell you about my happy place later. So there it is, Angie. That's Rate It or Hate It. The Toxic Avenger 1 and the original, whatever you want to call it, and Happy Gilmore Part 2. But Angie, now it's time to segue over to Story Time with Kyle. All right, Angie, it's time for Story Time with Kyle, and I think I'm going to wow you with this story here today. Maybe, maybe not, but I don't know if I've ever told you this story before, so you'll get to learn with everybody else. And this story comes from yesterday when we were coming back from dinner. Where did we go to dinner last night?
Oh, gosh. Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's. Oh, beautiful. Jersey Mike's.
Beautiful this time of year.
Yes, Jersey Mike's should sponsor this podcast here.
You finally converted me. I was like, no, and then no.
Yeah.
Now I like
Yeah. You love your mics from Jersey.
My sub.
What's your sub? What are you getting over there?
I think it's just called the Club Sub.
The Club Sub, but you get like some kind of what is that on there? That gives you heartburn.
Oh, the pepper relish.
The pepper relish gives her the heartburn. So
But it makes it, so you gotta
so
just
she
suffer.
deals with it. I get is it the Big Kahuna? It's basically their cheese steak, and I just say
No
hold
mushroom.
no mushroom. Now I like mushrooms, but I don't like mushrooms grilled or stir fried for whatever reason. I can eat a raw mushroom or just
Ew.
in other things, or like a deep fried mushroom. I can do that.
Yeah.
I just can't do like stir fry mushrooms. I don't know. It's weird. I have weird things with some of those kind of things. Like I don't like warm pineapples in stir fry either, but I love pineapples. It's my favorite fruit, but I don't like it in stir fry.
I always put mine in Hoo Hot.
Yeah, you drink that. I drink that pineapple juice every day for you, of course. But I thought of this yesterday as we were going back from Jersey Mike's. We were up at the light, and I looked over, and I'd never seen this before. It was the first time, and it was like flashback time. As there was a car next to us, and on the door it said, nice fancy paint job or whatever, like logo in there. Meals on Wheels. Now, do you know about Meals on Wheels? You've heard of this.
Yes.
Now, Meals on Wheels is one of those things where, like, usually churches or organizations, basically they get meals, and usually there's a lot of areas like different restaurants do it different days or whatever, and they have a list of people that, you know, are unfortunate or can't afford meals, whatever it may be, and these people deliver the meals. Maybe they're disabled, maybe they're old, whatever it is. Brightens their day with a little meal coming their way.
We used to, fun fact, our volleyball team used to deliver Meals on
Oh,
Wheels.
well.
And we would go in like our butt huggers or whatever. So we really made the old people, the
Oh,
old men happy.
so you got a little story time with Angie right here. So you can tell us any more about your Meals on Wheels. I was going to tell my experience, and it sounds like yours is a lot more interesting here. So Angie, being that volleyball player she was, you would wear your volleyball stuff and you'd sit down and talk with the men and stuff?
Yeah.
Any creepy situations?
Well, you didn't really sit down.
No.
It was quick. It was a quick in and out.
Is that what they're calling it these days? Sounds like I'm rubbing off on you.
But if it was old ladies, then they'd be like, girls, put some pants on.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I bet those country old ladies. But I can imagine some of those guys like, sit down, stay a while, talk with me. And then they lock the chain door.
They're like adjusting themselves.
Oh, you know. And then those creepy old men in nursing homes, too, they'll be like touching you, pretending like they don't know what's going on.
It's like your lady who gave you a tip.
Oh, it's like that. Was that last week?
Yep. Or no, a couple weeks
ago. But yeah, there's always that kind of stuff. So I'm sure there was shenanigans going on over there. That's for sure. But I would have liked to seen that. Young Angie in her volleyball outfit. Maybe you can reenact that for Halloween this year. We get you in a volleyball outfit again.
I
We'll
wish I
see.
still had it.
We'll see. But we'll get to that. But so you had a good experience, Meals on Wheels. Only one season doing that?
No, we did it all. We did it a few times.
So you probably did it more than I did. So this should be story time with Angie, not
I think
me.
my dad did it too, and I think I went along with him.
I feel like your dad did do that kind of stuff.
That's a very him thing.
Yeah, he loves that Meals on Wheels. And knowing your dad like I knew your dad, I felt like every day there was at least one or two meals missing along the way that he ate them along the way. Like, I'm going to get a free meal out of this. And
Oh, Doris wasn't home.
I'll just eat it. You know, she
Don't
wasn't
want it
home.
to go to waste.
Yep. I took it home and I ate it for dinner, put it in the refrigerator. I could see him doing that.
I always felt like they stunk, the Meals on Wheels, so he stunk.
100%. That is weird.
What was in there? I don't even know what was in there.
It was like, it always felt like it was cafeteria food. And that goes to my experience going in a small town for my grandma. So I'd go and stay 2 weeks at my grandma's every summer, and I'd usually stay the week of spring break at my grandma's. And my grandma Peterson, of course, my dad's parents. And I would stay up there and we'd do all kinds of stuff. We'd hit Pomida, we'd hit Ben Franklin's. My grandpa has like the most basic palate of food you'd ever believe. Like farm boy palate, like, what is this spice? I am
Meat,
never
potato,
trying a
salt,
taco.
pepper.
Yeah, I'm never trying a taco. I'm never trying Chinese food. Like, he's never had anything but like meat, potatoes, hamburger, steak, mashed potatoes and gravy, maybe spaghetti. I don't even know if I've ever seen him eat spaghetti.
Him going crazy is like a casserole.
Yeah, like casseroles and stuff. That's what they ate. But my grandma, she loved Taco John's. And Taco John's is a big chain. It's not quite Taco Bell, but it's similar. She loved Taco John's. And she always looked forward to us coming up for spring break in the summer, because my grandpa, he was a superintendent of schools. She stayed home. We would go run errands and stuff. We'd get groceries. We'd do all that. But then one of those days, and my grandma is a lot like me, and was a lot like me, or whatever you want to say it, but every day she would put a list of her to-do list for the day. And I always start my list off every day. I put a to-do list together every single day. Here's what I got to accomplish today. And I always throw a couple of really easy things on there. Like, sometimes I'll put like brush my teeth. Like, that's easy. But once you cross one thing off your list, you get moving and things start snowballing. And I think I got a lot of that from my grandma along the way. But she would have this list of what we were going to do every single day. And one of those days, every single time I was there, we would go to Taco John's and she would get a taco. And she'd she would just sit there in heaven. Just think of it like Taco Bell.
It actually is kind of sad that she never gonna go.
My grandpa would never go in a million years. It was not going to happen.
So sad.
And my grandma, I must get this from my grandma as well, because she could easily go by herself if she wanted to, but she wasn't going to do that. She wasn't going to go there.
For her, it was like a right or wrong thing, I think, too.
Maybe,
Yeah,
but she wasn't going to go sit at a Taco John's by herself. I wouldn't even do that. So I don't know if she would
do a
do
little
that.
drive-through, actually.
But, and I don't know if they had them back then,
Oh,
but
maybe not.
I don't know. But anyways, my grandma, oh, Kyle, I'm so excited. She'd just be like all day, so excited to get this Taco John's.
What would she get?
And she would just get like a soft shell taco and a hard shell, like very basic stuff as well. But oh, she loved it. And she would just sit there and she'd just have a smile on her face. And oh, this is so fun. And she just loved it. And many years later, you know, my grandpa retired and they moved to town where we lived when I was like 12 years old or something like that. They moved to town to be closer in retirement, to help out with the kids and do stuff if need be. And I remember once I had a driver's license and stuff, and, you know, my grandpa used to golf. My grandpa golfed every single day in retirement. He did that every single day, 5 days a week. He was out on the golf course. Well, I knew he wouldn't be home, and I would always surprise my grandma. I would go to Taco John's and I would get some tacos and I'd bring them and we'd eat them for lunch sometimes. And oh, Kyle, she would just be, oh, I'm so tickled. I'm so tickled you brought this here.
She would say that too.
She would. I'm so tickled.
This is
so.
I'm bringing that back.
She'd say, oh, this is so fun. Oh, Kyle, this is so fun. So grateful you thought of me. And like, she would make it sound like, you know, I don't think of her or something like that. But I always loved going in there, and I was always the hero. And she loved my stories. You know, she would list all my stories, and she would want to hear every single story I ever had. And but we did Meals on Wheels. Getting back to the Meals on Wheels going up there. You know, other place we go to Pizza Hut buffet one of those days too. That was always a good one. But we would do Meals on Wheels, and it was like Tuesday, Thursday. She did them every single week, and the kids would have to come along, and I'd come along, me and my sister, and we do these Meals on Wheels. You know, and we'd have to help out, lug some of these things. And I remember they were in like a plastic kind of tote like thing. I mean, they were all set up there, and I remember them smelling crazy too. Like, I just remember the overwhelming smell in the car. It's like, oh. And I just remember not wanting to have anything. I remember some of the people saying, sit and stay. You know, you deliver them to these old people. And they'd be like, oh, stay, so come sit with us, hang out. And like, I wanted no part of that. These old people, I don't want. My grandma's good enough. I'll hang out with my grandma. I don't need these old people I don't know from this foreign land. Well, foreign land. I didn't live in the city, so they're not people I see. I don't know who these people are. They're old. But then my grandma, you know, my grandma was old, and your grandmas are always old. Even if your grandma's like 40 years old and you're a little kid, oh, my grandma's old. She's 40. Oh, my gosh. But my grandma was older, and these people were like older than my grandma. So it felt like, oh, these people are ancient. They got 2 feet out the door or whatever. Didn't want to invest any time with them. I didn't want to have any tears at a funeral anytime soon, of course. But I remember they wanted to sit down and all this stuff. And my grandma was always so nice, these people. And these people always looked up to my grandma, and my grandpa being a superintendent of schools, you know, in small town communities. I don't know. Yeah. You know the town. How many people were in that town, would you guess? 15,000 people in the town, maybe something like that.
How many people?
10,000. I don't know.
I was thinking like 3,000.
No, I don't know. 8,000, 10,000, something like that. I don't know. It's probably shrinking as most rural areas are starting to shrink down. But anyways, they were always looked at as, oh, there they are, you know, and stuff. So we do all these Meals on Wheels, and we lug all these things around all day long. And it was always just a whole fiasco and stuff. But I always enjoyed it. I'm like, oh, we're doing Meals on Wheels. And it was always fun until I got into the process. And then I'm like, you know, that Ben Franklin's in Pomaida would be really fun to see. I wonder what G.I. Joe guys they got. I wonder if they got any of those new Ninja Turtle figures around the corner. I remember that. My grandma was always, when we were done, we would always go. And during that week, we'd have it all placed out. Meals on Wheels on Tuesday, Pomaida in the afternoon, Thursday, Meals on Wheels, Ben Franklin that afternoon. And I'd get I'd get one thing. And we always talk about on the channel, the old grandma vehicles. You know, grandma's not getting you that aircraft carrier. She's not getting you that Cobra Bug or the Cobra Moray, but she'll get you something a little bit smaller. She'll get you a couple of figures or maybe a figure in a small vehicle. And she always came through. And usually we'd get like a medium-sized vehicle on one, and then we get a figure or 2 figures the other time. And it was very nice of her to do that, of course.
It was probably about $5 back then, too.
Yeah, it was less than that. Like a figure was $1.99. It was like $8.99 for a vehicle. So it didn't feel like she was breaking the bank at the time. And it was always fun because then I'd be playing with them and, you know, put them together at her house. And she'd make the scotcheroo. She'd make the lemonade. She'd make the famous chicken hot dish. There was a whole thing. There was a whole thing, and it was quite the week. I was always very excited to go up there for that. It was nice to get a change of pace. Nice to be waited on by hand and feet. And, you know, can I get you another lemonade, Kyle? Can I get you a scotcheroo? How about one more scotcheroo? I know you could do one more. All right, twist my arm, Grandma. All right, you did it. So It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And the Meals on Wheels, I had that nostalgic flashback, kind of like the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup when I tried it at that food show. I had that when I looked over and I saw that. And I don't know why I didn't tell you at the time. I don't know if you were talking or something. And then I started thinking about that and I tuned that out. I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not. I never tune you out. I listen to everything. But Meals on Wheels, quite the adventure, be it in a skimpy volleyball outfit or, I don't know, a Slayer shirt as a 6-year-old or whatever I was wearing back then. Who knows? Probably not Slayer. But yeah, Meals on Wheels, a lot of fun and very nostalgic. And, of course, a story time with Kyle. Anything to add on Meals on Wheels? What are the odds of you and me doing Meals on Wheels in the future?
Probably.
No. Zero.
Not when we're old?
No. Zero.
See, I feel like it's sad that I feel like our parents aren't like the grandparents that we had, but I feel like we're going to be those to our kids'
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it just like skips.
Yeah, maybe it skips.
Because we're going to be all over our like we're going to be there all the time. Are you kidding me?
All the time.
Like we're going to be like, let's go to
hopefully
Target.
they're boys. I'm going to be like, you guys have you guys listened to this album? It's called Power Slave by Iron Maiden. We got to listen to this. Come on over.
They're going to want Chick-fil-A and you're going to be like, God, not Chick-fil-A.
Not you two. I thought that would skip a generation. No.
You're like, let's go to Taco John's.
Yeah, let's go to Taco John's. But you're right. I can't wait. I'm going to be all over it. If it's a boy, we're going to be playing baseball. We're going to get him up and running. We're going to be wrestling. We're going to be fighting. I'll be taking him to the wrestling shows. I can just imagine all that stuff. And we're going to be going to concerts.
But your grandma Shirley was like the best.
Yeah, she
I could
was.
cry. Like I could almost cry right now just thinking about her.
Just let it out. It's good for ratings.
she was just like the most humble, sweet.
Yes.
And it's sad that she doesn't get to see her YouTube.
Oh.
She would have loved it.
Oh, she would have been hanging on
God.
everyone. She would watch every video. She would watch she'd be the only person that would watch every single video, and she would just be hanging on every word. She
Although we
loved
would
it.
have kept it PG, I would have never had my boobs on the internet if she was watching.
Whoa. No, but she
No cleavage here.
Let's just show everybody. Let me take another button down. Let's see what happens. Yeah, she hung on every word, but I don't know if she was just a great actress that just, she did it, or she really was hanging on those words. And she was always so proud of me. She'd always tell me how proud she was of me every time. And I always took that to heart. Always took that to heart. Now I'm crying. Oh, there's tears are flowing. Tears are falling like a young kiss back in the 80s is what that is right there. But Meals on Wheels, Grandma, Story Time with Kyle, Story Time with Angie. Angie, we're almost done. It's time for Album of the Week. All right, Angie, it's time for Album of the Week, and I actually forgot all about this segment this week, and I don't think I really listened to any albums this week, so we're just going to pull one out of my back pocket is what we're going to do here today, unless you got a Hail Mary throw and you got something.
I got nothing.
You got nothing, but I don't know if you know this album very well, but you've heard the song, and I think that's where everybody that's watching this is. But Angie, did you know I don't really like Kenny Rogers? Now,
you like his shirts.
That's exactly right. So this is a vintage Kenny Rogers Western shirt. A lot of people ask me, Kyle, where do you get these Western shirts? And they think they're like modern day ones. And
eBay, baby.
eBay, thrift stores, Mercari, things like that. That's where I search out these vintage 80s, late 70s, 80s Kenny Rogers Western shirts. Authentic Kenny Rogers Western shirts. That's what I like. So hard to find. But fun. And it's like a needle in a haystack. And sometimes you get them for like $10. They've really jumped up in price the last couple of years. But I used to get them for like $7, $8.
Because you're wearing them on the internet.
And I'm wearing them. People are showing. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case.
But the sizing is so funky on them. Sometimes you'll get an extra large and it'll be like a medium.
Yeah, the sizing was rough in the 70s and 80s compared to now. But it's all over the place. But I really enjoy it. It's a collection within a collection here. But I do prefer the Kenny Rogers. I'm not opposed to modern day Western shirts, but they're so expensive. Like the H-Bar-C brand. Once again, I get off on these tangents. This has nothing to do with this. But the H-Bar-C brands are really, really nice. A little heavier than I like them. I like Kenny's because they're a little lighter weight. Those H-Bar-C's are absolutely amazing. I like the more decor. If I can get some doilies or something like that, I like that. But the end of the day.
This used to be like an everyday wear for people.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like...
Well, this was back in the country days when I go to my grandparents' out, in farmland and stuff like that. There'd be guys with their cigarettes poking right out of here or their can of chewing tobacco. You know how that goes. There would be stuff like that. Or you'd see like a million receipts in a guy's shirt. Some farmer, dropping his corn off or whatever. He's got a million receipts in there. And maybe that's where psychologically it goes to. And my grandpa that we talked about earlier, he was more of a suit and tie guy every day. He was a superintendent, so he was suit and tie every day. But my other grandpa, My grandpa Ronnie, shout out to him. He's passed away too. He was a welder. So he was a welding man. He was a working man and working on his hands and stuff like that. And he wore like blue jeans, like a cowboy boot type thing every single day.
Yep.
But I remember him always in like the Jay Leno, like denim, like shirt. That was kind of what he wore.
Those
every
really
single
thin
day.
ones, or maybe they were just
They
thin
were
from
really
time.
thin. They were thin because it was hot welding all day long.
Yeah.
You're welding, doing this. And he did, like, he welded all the stuff, like the gymnastic balance beams and stuff for the Olympics and all that. I mean, that was what his company did. And he'd be welding, but he'd weld in his garage. He had a huge shop. Getting off on a tangent, but I think I get more of that Western wear styling from him, I think, than anybody else. And that's where I remember seeing it. But going back to the album of the week here, why are we talking Kenny Rogers? Well, we're going to Kenny Rogers this week for the album of the week. And good friend of the channel, Todd McFarlane, taking a nap on the couch right now. That's his favorite artist of all time. We saw that video. We did a road trip, me and Todd McFarlane, not too long ago, and we listened to a little Kenny Rogers, and he just put one song on repeat the whole time. He said it was his anthem for life. So check out that video if you missed it.
That's what put
It's a
him to
great
sleep
one.
for his nap.
It's a great one, but we're going to The Gambler, and to me, for not being a big Kenny Rogers fan, Kenny Rogers is kind of that cheesy country to me. You know, you get Islands in the Stream with him and Dolly, of course, a Bee Gees song. That's a great one, but for the most part, Kenny was kind of just that radio-friendly, grandma-friendly country, not the outlaw country I listened to. However, the song The Gambler from the album and the movie The Gambler is his magnum opus, I would say. That is his best song. And I remember in college, you remember Danny, Pete, and I, we used to jam out. You know, we'd be rocking out with our guitars and stuff. And I would always bust out a heavy metal version of The Gambler. I would just put on, I'd get that old Boss 2 Metal Zone pedal, and I'd put that thing to the metal. That's what I would do. And I'd be rocking out The Gambler heavy metal version. So I've always enjoyed The Gambler. And I've enjoyed Kenny Rogers, though, obviously The Gambler, but more so his Western wear. And I really wish I could have enjoyed Kenny Rogers' Roasters. He had a chicken. Did you know this? He had a chicken restaurant, much like good friend of the channel, Harlan Sanders. But it was, I think, more rotisserie chicken. And there was that very famous Seinfeld episode. You've never seen Seinfeld, really, I don't think.
No.
It's weird
religiously,
to me. It's
no.
weird to me. You've seen bits and pieces,
Yes.
but never really watched it. But there was that famous episode with Kenny Rogers' Roasters, opened up across the neon signs, can't sleep, and all that kind of stuff. But there was never any of those in my neck of the woods, so I never got to go there. But Kenny Rogers, The Gambler, of course, a very famous movie. I would say his most famous movie. It's the only one I can name off the top of my head, but I know he's in a bunch of other ones there. You got Morgana Jones, that song, and The Gambler, the two best songs from that one. The rest of it, a little bit that. But I wanted to talk a little bit of love for Kenny Rogers, and it could give me an opportunity to talk about the Western wear, because a lot of people do reach out and say, hey, where do you get these Western wear shirts? Well, thrift stores, eBay, Mercari, and they're Kenny Rogers Western wear. Now, don't you guys be going on eBay and putting this in your saved alerts, because I'm trying to get deals and I'm trying to find ones I don't have.
Leave those extra larges alone.
Yes, the extra larges. I don't want you guys going. I don't want you guys taking those ones. And the extra larges are kind of like a modern day large. So if you need an extra large, maybe you need an extra large. So stay out of my window of my extra large, because I need these for me.
Stay in your own
I
lane.
need these for me. So, and if you got any leads on some Kenny Rogers Western shirts, let me know. Maybe I have them, maybe I don't. I'm always surprised seeing new ones every once in a while. So there it is. That's shirt of the week, food of the week, album of the week, Kenny Rogers, The Gambler. But Angie, it's time for a few final thoughts. All right, Angie, it's time for some final thoughts. What do you got? Nothing.
Toxic Avenger. Big.
Oh, I'm gonna
Grandma
vent.
Shirley.
There you go, Grandma Peterson. Shout out to her. I know for sure we got some yard work to do, and we got. I think you already
Well, I
trimmed.
got a head start.
You trimmed the bushes already, didn't you?
I trimmed my bushes.
Oh yeah, you did clean shaven as usual. That's looking good.
And I
But
switched out my, what do you call it? Front patio.
Wreath?
Front patio?
wreath.
What do you call that? Like I redecorated it.
She redecorated for fall,
Fall vibes.
getting those in there. It's like a cool 67 degrees in the house or something like that. It's like 71
It
outside.
was like 49 this morning.
And I have to mow the yard, and I did get a new weed whacker, so I'm
Oh,
going to take care of you with that.
Whacker.
And an edger, so I'm going to take care of that, get all that cleaned up. I'm going to mow the yard tonight, do any other stuff we need to do in the yard. There's some weeds in the rocks I got to get out there. So trying to get ready for fall, winter, get all this stuff done. So that is the plan tonight. Angie's making tacos. Shout out to my grandma. But these are Costco tacos from the fresh food at my kids and our kids.
Chicken tacos, our kids love them.
Yeah, my kids. So they're not your kids; they're mine, I guess. So from a previous marriage. No, but the kids love those tacos. Basically, you just heat up the meat and you throw them in there. It's pretty easy dinner.
Yeah.
So that'll be good after a night of yard work here tonight.
I'm already hungry. We didn't really eat lunch.
No, there's never time for that kind of stuff. So who knows? But that's it. There's really nothing going on. I did get a couple of questions of the week, but they were for the 25th episode, which is next week. So I'm going to save them for that. We'll probably do a segment or two of Q&A, a couple other things as well as we celebrate 25 episodes of the Kyle and Angie show, Kyle Peterson show, whatever you want to call it. We got to figure out some stuff to do in the future. 25. Can we make it to 100? Can you root us on? Can you tell a friend? That's the truth out there.
Considering you have stories I've never even heard, I think we can.
I don't know. I got a long list of those stories, but they're running thin. I think I can get us up to 50, but you just got to hope new stories are created along the way. And I think one of these days we're going to turn the tables. Maybe it'll be episode 50, and I'm going to sit over here, and Angie's going to lead the show. We'll let her pick the album. We'll let her pick everything, and I'll chime in. I think it'll be a good change of pace. Angie doesn't have any vacations coming anytime soon. I would love to get my dad as a guest on here for an episode, but he refuses. He won't even take my calls at this point, which is really wild. I tried to reach out to him about unboxing the Universal Monsters Metaluna Mutant, and he just clicked on me. And I said, Dad, I think you hung up. He's like, or I said, I think we lost communication.
Signal?
We lost signal. He said, no, we didn't. No, we didn't. He hung up. I said, Dad, I got an extra one. Did you need it? And did you want to unbox it on the channel? And he just replied back, no thanks. So cut and dry, not much to say on that one there. So it's a bummer for me. And maybe my grandma would have came on the channel and unboxed it. We know your dad would have been all over this channel. It would have been to an annoying level. And it would have been like, he would have been, if you guys are familiar with Bam Margera, he would have been my Don Vito. He was a crazy.
He looked kind of like him too. Same body type.
George looked like a little bit skinnier version of Bam Margera's dad.
Yeah,
but Don Vito was the brother.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah, Angie's dad looked like Bam Margera's dad, Phil Margera, if I remember correctly.
Like a lot of belly. Like skinny everywhere, but just a belly. But he wasn't near as big as that guy.
He wasn't quite that big. But he had the same head and the same beard and everything else. But he would have been all over this. And he would have loved to have been a guest. And he could have told us all about all the people he killed in Vietnam, maybe. He could have chimed in on that. Could have told us all about Agent Orange. He could have talked about collectibles, antiques. I mean, stories for days, that guy. So missed opportunities between Grandma Peterson and him on the channel. Who knows? Trying to get my dad there. My dad just not interested. Not interested. Thanks to you for having some interest to be on
You're
here.
welcome.
Instead, I'd just be talking to myself, or I'd put a dummy up here or something. I don't know what I would do.
You should try that one time. Just put a
I could talk to myself for a long time. And it is getting a little sad here, Angie, as the cooler weather is prevalent and things are getting a little bit more buttoned up right here on you too. So that's one of the big reasons people tune in, as we do now. There you go.
Like the Hulk.
Let's see it. Rip it out. But it's getting colder out, so you got to be buttoned up. There you go.
One more button.
More buttons down. We'll see where it goes from there. You never know. But we do got Halloween around the corner. We're still trying to figure out Halloween outfits. I think I'm playing the Freddy Krueger rule from the 80s, which we'll talk about in the future. We'll have some Halloween stories and some story time as well. But we're going to find Angie. I think we got it narrowed down to one of two costumes for Angie. So we'll see.
I'm going to be a banana.
A banana? Oh,
a huge banana.
One of three?
Just a whole suit.
You're going to peel it. You're going to peel it. That's for sure. So we'll see where that goes. So a lot of good stuff coming here, but we got to get through. We got to get through episode number 25 first, Angie. But that's it. I don't got anything else in my notes. You got anything else?
No.
All right. Tell everybody goodbye. In your own special way.
Oh, goodbye.
Oh, goodbye.
Are we going to dance or are we going to play?
Get that real guitar.